This is my instructional video on how to fix a plastic canoe or kayak or boat hull. I've looked up online on various methods of repair, and I like plastic welding, but I'm on a low budget. So after a little research, I've come up with a way to do it at close to no cost. I think it's a very durable bond. Here are the supplies you'll need. I've got a small drill bit here. I've got some number 2 plastic. That's the most important thing. Where can you find number 2 plastic? Well, it's most commonly used in things like milk cartons and orange juice cartons, but you need to double check and make sure it's a number 2. I have a gain bottle here. If you look on the bottom, there is a number 2. There's a number 2 recycling symbol. And the number 2, underneath it, it says HDPE. It's high density polyethylene. And that's what most sites say you should use for repair. And that's where you're going to find it. Out of this milk carton, I've cut a bunch of patches to get them ready for the repair. I've found that they don't have to be anything special. You can work with them as they go. I've got a sharp knife, and with that knife I cut out my patches and I use it to work the plastic. There's a lighter and a propane torch, and that's all I need. If you'll look at this crack I'm going to work on, this crack is at the stern. It's up around the top railing. Kind of hard to see this boat in my tight space. It's a little boat. It's called the Sport Yak 2. It's a little small 2-person throw in the back of the car type boat. That crack runs all the way through. I've gone ahead in advance and I've drilled a hole at the end of each crack to keep that crack from growing any when there are future stresses. We'll take a quick jump over here. In my learning process, I kind of beat this one up, but you'll see this one was all milk cartons. There was a stress crack along the name here. What I did is come out pretty solid. You can't peel it off. You can't pick it off. It can take. It's impact tough. May not be as strong as the original, but that's one. Here was a fun repair. It's a larger hole. I threw a couple strips of Maxwell House coffee can on top for support ribs. It's equally as strong. A little messy because I'm using a torch instead of a heat gun. I did have a torch on hand and I didn't have a heat gun. You'll see there's no special preparation other than the holes at the end of the cracks. So let's get started. There's not much to this. I'm going to light the torch. I'll also note that to these plastic containers there's no special preparation. I've only rinsed them out, nothing else. Got my torch going on a medium flame. And what I'm going to do, I've noticed that with this particular plastic it's older, and it's not an exact match to the milk carton plastic, I don't think. So it doesn't really respond as it probably should in a perfect scenario. I've heard that the best plastic to bond your cracks with is the plastic off your boat. I just didn't feel like cutting any plastic off the boat. This boat only cost me $5, so there's not much loss if anything goes wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm heating up this boat plastic I'm trying to heat a large area, so I'm going to gently heat it and bring it all to somewhere around the working temperature. You'll notice as you get the plastic hotter, it starts to shine. When it gets a gloss on the top, it's ready. I'm not doing anything special with the milk carton patch. You see a little deforming going on with the plastic. You push that down with a knife. As I said, I'm not going for beautiful, just going for functional. And what I'm going to do, once this has got a nice large area that's shiny, is place my patch on there in the area I intend to work. Now this is a opaque plastic. As I heat it, when it gets closer to working temperature, at first it doesn't want to work with me. So I get it to hold in one place, and when I use my knife, as I heat it and it gets to its working temperature, it becomes clear. Accidents don't matter, because they can all be corrected as you go. I'm blowing this flame away from my hand. And I'm going to continue to work this plastic gently until all of it's clear. Laying it over any holes or cracks. The idea is to bring this a little beyond clear, but a little under catching on fire, while at the same time you have the boat plastic shiny. And just for an extra measure, I press the plastic around the edges to help seal it. To the boat plastic. If you'll notice, the heat has caused the hole to separate a little, but that's okay. Everything's clear. It covers the hole. As it dries, it'll become a milky white, and it will bond with the boat's plastic. So my next stage is to continue with the first layer on all these cracks, and then I'll go add some reinforcement layers on top, making sure that they're all sealed. Now that this piece is on there and it's started to go opaque a little, I'm going to go back and double check a couple of the corners, reheat them to opaque, being careful and pushing down any high points. I'm going to grab another patch. Heat the boat plastic. Get it shiny. If you'll see, the areas that have turned brown, that's where I got a little too hot. I'll have perfect control with the torch. Now that it's stuck, I want to press it down. Blow away from my hand, pull the patch on. If you end up with too much, you can pull a piece off when it's melted. This is creating a second layer on my first layer over the hole. It peels up, I push it back down, heat it. Move away to the next part. I think ultimately, when you can see through all the layers, they're all at a bonding heat. Go back, double check. There's that patch. Grab another one. Come over to the other area that's cracked. Heat up the bolts. You'll notice the whole area is getting distorted from the constant heat. It's the way it seems to go with a large crack. This is the third crack on the top I'm patching. Plus I have 1 or 2 holes in the bottom. I'm going to do the same way. Got it all tacked down. Now I'm going to heat it. Make sure it bonds. Press it. Oh, I just burned a hole in it, but that's okay. Grab another patch for the hole. And this will make another layer overall. Heat it real good on the edges. Get a real good bond. Successfully covered up my hole. Put a couple more layers on for support. See an edge here lifted up. You'll notice some of the thicker places don't really go clear that easily. You just work it carefully and continue to heat it. Make sure it adheres in the edges. Real nice. Seal out any leaks. There's that patch. Another layer. You'll notice this particular plastic, the original hole is opening up more. The crack has turned into a hole. That's okay. You can only go so far. And it's all going to be covered up anyway. You'll never see it after this. So now I got another hole. You just keep working and working it. You'll see the first areas I worked on, they're cooling off and they're going to the milky white. I gotta try to bond this up without getting another hole. Pressing down the edges to create a bond. out any fires. Be really careful with the hole this time. Throw some more patches over it. I'll be back with you in a bit. And here we are back at the repair after it's cooled down. A little bit of a close-up look. Kind of looks like a bunch of gauze strips, but every strip is bonded to the last one. They're all hard. You see that? It's as hard as can be. I think it has a little bit of flexibility. Help keep it from being brittle. Wraps around the corner. Covers all the cracks. Bonded. I see a little bit of lifting along here. A little bit along here. I'll go back and hit that with the torch again. Couple little holes. I didn't have as many holes on my first trial. I've noticed it works out well when I go back and try to fix it. I give it a final torching. Works out pretty well if I put the torch on high, instead of trying to heat up the whole plastic. I just try to heat the surface quickly and get it done. I'll give this one a quick touch up and a final go over. A little excess there. Just cut it. Pull it off quickly. Tack it down. And there you have it. Maybe I'll call this the mummy repair technique. Give this a final look. That's what everything looks like. As you know, when it dries, it'll get a milky white. It'll be hard. We'll be good to go.